too tight. How's it going? Vincy Lou Hoo! Trying to get all the food out of my teeth. Okay, so I just tried to send Debbie Watson, who was one of the winners from Saturday, an ebook through Google Play. Send her the book. She comes back and it says, you cannot accept this. How'd it read? This gift cannot be redeemed in your country. Urgh! Pisses me off. So, Jackie, how do we go about sending ebooks as gifts from here to like Canada, Australia, the UK, wherever? I mean, seriously. This is getting on my nerves. Quit saying hi and answer me, woman. Do what from my laptop? Huh? Okay. Send me screenshots and I can follow screenshots. You don't have to. I'll probably be asleep by the time you get home and figure all that out, but just send me screenshots and I'll figure it out tomorrow. I would appreciate that. Nina, shut up. We're talking. See if I can find the dirty chapters in this book. That works every time. Oh, hell yeah. See, Nina? Thank you, Jackie. We still need Jackie. We need to connect for the website too, dear. I really need to get with you on that one. Ooh. Oh God. The best. If you're ever looking for the dirty parts in a book, go up and search the word moan. Authors will use that word every time. You can't go with sex, you can't go with cock or pussy or anything like that because different authors use different things. But moaning is something everybody does during sex. He has subscribed, and there's 8 people on right now. So I don't know who's on and who's not. So let's see. These are short chapters, y'all. Alrighty, y'all about ready? So, I guess I'll start with chapter 1. I was going to start in the middle, but Lucas thinks it's not Facebook friendly, which Nina told him it was YouTube. So, but these chapters are short, so maybe I'll get to a good part, y'all. Whew. Damn, I got vodka in my lemonade, and it's hot. It's making me hot. This is why I get naked when I drink, y'all. This is why it's always Naked Friday. Okay, let's look at this sexy as hell cover. Lucas X Black, suspension's reward. Wrongly accused. Look at that cover, y'all. Ah, this is about a Dom, y'all. You guys know how much I love Dom books. Damn. I seriously need a Dom. Okay. All right. Chapter 1. Mr. Thompson? A female voice said into the phone when Matt answered late on Thursday morning. Speaking, Matt said. Sir, I'm Nora Horton, principal of Pinedale. Is something wrong with Jeremy? Matt asked, suddenly tensing up. He's been in a fight, sir, Horton said. You need to come get him. It means he's suspended for 3 days per policy. What happened? We're getting to the bottom of it, but we need you to come fetch him, Mr. Thompson. On my way, Matt said. I'll be about 40 minutes getting there. He grumbled as he left his office, started his car, and called his mother to report what had happened. Are you able to watch him for the coming 3 days? He asked. Hell yeah, his mother said. Did he get hurt? I don't think so, Matt told her. The principal would have told me if he had, I think. If he is hurt and she didn't tell me, heads are about to roll at Pinedale Elementary, and I'll be the lead story on tonight's news. Sure, bring him here, his mother said. She took it. If you do go on a beheading rampage, try to keep the splatter to just one room there, okay, kid? Probably an hour or so, Matt said, taking the ramp onto the freeway and zooming his car up to highway speed. He wondered what was going on with Jeremy. This was the first time the amazingly even-tempered kid had been in a fight. Somebody finally got tired of bullies, is what it sounds like. At the school, he met a frowning Principal Horton. This is going onto his record, Mr. Thompson, she said. If there's a recurrence, your son might be expelled altogether. We won't tolerate such behavior here. This is a school, not a boxing gym. Ease up, Matt said, staring her down. You aren't going to bully me, Miss Horton. This is the first time he's ever been in any kind of trouble, ever. And if you fuck with him, you're going to regret it. Don't you threaten me, Horton hissed. It's not a threat, Matt said in a calm and even tone that carried more menace than any other could. This is a promise. Got it? Matt's cold eyes met her, not looking away until she looked down, then marched angrily back to her office. Dad, I was trying to break up the fight, Jeremy said when they were on the road. A 5th grader was picking on Tim Utley. He keeps hitting Tim to take away his lunch money. And Tim... I know, Matt interrupted. Tim was a good kid on a prosthetic leg, fortunately below the knee, after a car wreck that happened when he was barely a toddler. Who's the 5th grader? His name is Taylor Moore, Jeremy answered. I think he's been in 5th grade since I was born. He'll probably still be in 5th grade when I'm in college, Jeremy snorted. He'll probably be the only little jerk driving his own car to elementary school. Your age with his own wife and kids and still hasn't learned long division unless he's in prison or something. Matt snorted amusement at this. In spite of himself, glad he had turned on his voice recorder. He'd look into this Moore kid when he got it back to his office. Son, I'm proud of you for standing up for Tim, but that shouldn't have happened. Tim's complained to Mr. Jackson, but Mr. Jackson told him to deal with his own problems, Jeremy said. Terry Jackson was Jeremy and Tim's teacher. He'll be dealt with too, Matt decided, his anger slowly stoking. He got Jeremy to his parents' house and had a Coke, then drove back to his office, making a few phone calls on his way. He didn't ask how his PI got all of this information and wouldn't, knowing the PI, a woman named Andy Campbell, was all but certain to be gaining her information illegally, but not knowing that. He got to his office, unsurprised to find dossiers on Jackson and Horton and on James and Tammy Moore, parents of Taylor Moore, now 13 years old and still indeed in the fifth grade, after two tries at second grade and two tries at fourth. Jeremy hadn't exaggerated all that much. He made a phone call to someone he knew. He knew that before sunrise, James and Tammy Moore would be sporting broken bones, told it was because of their little thug of a son. Meanwhile, Terry Jackson, after intense counseling and the loss of several teeth, would be submitting his no notice resignation, even if it was only February. He would be relocating and pointed suggestions that he do so at least 500 miles away and would never again teach children. While there wasn't particularly dirt on Horton, was plenty of dirt on four of the seven members of the school board, and even more dirt on the superintendent. He toyed with the idea of having Horton fired, but decided to hold that for a bit. Something about her told him he'd be wiser holding back for the moment. That she was beautiful didn't quite enter his mind, but something drew him and kept him from fucking her up. Yet, Matt finished his day and left the office, calling his parents on the way to meet him at Rod's cafeteria for supper. Nina, tell Mari I used the word supper in one of my books, where he took charge of Jeremy, promising to have him at their house the next morning by 8. Are you mad at me, Dad? Jeremy asked. No, to be honest, I'm pretty damn proud of you, kid. Matt said, you took a chance for a friend and you did well. You're not in trouble with me, Jeremy, unless you don't get ready for bed the instant we're home. I'm worn out anyway, Dad. Hey, Lucas. Nope, you're fine. You're fine. We started at the beginning, even though I wanted to start with chapter 7. Later that night, Matt's email dinged. It was an email from a dummy account. In roundabout terms, it told him his bidding was done. Montana was mentioned, which meant Jackson had been pounded to a pulp and would be quitting his job. The New York Mets were mentioned later in the rambling email, which meant James and Tammy Moore had both gotten the shit kicked out of them. From his home office, his alternate phone rang, which he answered. Apropos of... Who's reading this? Okay. Apropos of nothing whatsoever, I heard that a couple, husband and wife, were transported by ambulance with an array of broken bones. They've indicated they agree the weather in El Paso is more to their liking, and they'll move once they've been discharged from the hospital. Someone else lost 8 teeth along with an array of broken ribs and a shattered knee. He's considered his situation and has also promised to move to Florida within the fortnight. God, this town has grown so violent. Yeah, it has, Matt agreed. I hope me and mine stay safe. I'm sure you will, the woman chuckled. Goodbye, sir. Good night, Matt said and ended the call, then put the phone back on its charging cord and locked the phone back in its drawer. While seldom used, he considered these thugs to be his accounts receivable department. People were rarely in arrears for money owed to him and never for long. He went downstairs and had a glass of scotch, then went to bed. He slept fitfully, but woke up on time, got Jeremy up and off to his parents' house, then drove on to his office to begin a new day. I may get there. We'll see. This might be one of them 2-hour reads tonight, girls. If Sir Lucas can handle it. Mr. Thompson, this is Nora Horton. He heard at 11, early in his day. Jesus Christ, you already kicked my kid out of school, unfairly, I might add. He's not even there, so what the hell could he have done now? Nothing at all, actually, Horton said stiffly. Then what do you want now? To talk, sir, she said. Can can you meet me at my office at 4:30? Sure. It's not like I have a business to run, Matt grumbled. 4:30. Okay, I'll be there. Is that all for now? Yes. Yes, sir, she said. I'm trying to right a wrong, Mr. Thompson. 4:30, Matt said. I need to go. Matt worked through lunch hour and arrived to the school at 4:20, stopping along the way for a Big Mac meal, reflecting inwardly how creepy schools were when empty of students. At 4:35, he was ushered into Horton's office. I'm sure Mr. Thompson and I won't be long, Lynn. Oh, it's Horton. Okay, I thought it was secretary. I'm sure Mr. Thompson and I won't be long, Lynn, Horton said to her secretary. Get out of here and start your weekend. Thanks, Lynn said. She cast a dubious look at Matt, but took her order from Horton and left. Let me go lock up after her, Horton said and exited. Matt looked about her office and he was surprised to see a charcoal drawing of a scene of a bygone era of a girl in a flowing skirt bent over a desk while a teacher or headmaster slung a cane at the unfortunate lass. He wondered after that, but set the thought aside as Horton returned. Oh, silence, she said, and flashed a smile at Matt, a smile he didn't return. Her smile faded and she got to business. Okay, I could hide behind zero tolerance policies and all that malarkey, she said. But no less than 16 kids have come to me, half of them not even in Jeremy's class. Another boy seems to have been bullying one of Jeremy's friends for his lunch money, and Jeremy stepped up to protect the child. Yes, I know, Matt said, his expression dead as his eyes met hers. Jeremy and Tim are friends. Tim's getting around on a prosthetic leg, and I guess he looked like easy pickings to the little thug Taylor Moore. It's that much worse that Tim's parents are busted broke poor. Sounds like that little bastard belongs more in a reform school than elementary school. I mean, how many little shits are in 5th grade and already shaving, right? Oddly enough, Jeremy's teacher is in the hospital and called in today to tell me he wouldn't be returning. Then he got a job in Florida that he couldn't pass up. Quitting before the year is done, vacating a contract. He'll never teach again. If he's letting a crippled kid get beaten up by a thug 5 or so years older, I'll suggest he should have never been trusted with children in the first place, Matt said. If I have to say this, neither should you. Ouch, Horton said. I made a reaction, and by now I know it wasn't a decision, Mr. Thompson. I ask you here to apologize to you in person and not over the phone. I got my temper up, but you know your kid and I don't. I seriously don't. I know some of these little bastards are all too well, especially, maybe invariably, the little criminals and thugs who are always in trouble, not the good kids. But I heard from yay many kids and even one teacher that Jeremy stepped in to protect Tim for Taylor, who I see in this office at least twice weekly. She sighed and grunted. Fuck. I shouldn't have mentioned names, even if you already know them. No, but why bullshit me, right? Matt snorted. Mr. Thompson, I made a reaction. Those are knee-jerk rather than decisions which are considered, and I apologize. In an earlier generation, you'd be getting what that woman is getting in the drawing, Matt said. Maybe with that very rattan cane sitting up there on pegs. He noticed the rattan cane and rattan cane and wondered what that and the drawing indicated. Yes, perhaps you're right, she said, her blue eyes on his. Would that give you a sense of justice, Mr. Thompson? Resolution? What? So you could charge me with assault? Matt asked. I don't think so, Miss Horton. You deserve it, yes, but I don't trust you 1 inch further than I can throw you. You look like a fit man. If I had to guess, you could probably throw me a long way, Horton said, then blushed. Jesus, what the fuck? Beg pardon? Matt asked. What is this? What is this impact you have on me? She said. Yeah, that drawing. That was once an element in my life. That's how I was brought up, how it was in my college sorority, and for a longish while, how it was with a man in my life until we parted ways. He had tenure there, and I had too good of an offer here, and that came to its end 10 years ago. 10 years gone. He's 25 years older than me, and he told me he wouldn't live forever. Then he ordered me to accept a career here. I didn't get to this job by being stupid or not knowing how to play the game and to know when someone's bluffing or not, Mr. Thompson. I looked into you last night. There wasn't much to find except you run what seems to be a really successful business, import export, and seem highly regarded and highly protective of Jeremy. I wonder, with your resources, why is he in public school and not private? I'd ordinarily say none of your business, Matt told her. Long and short, I don't want him spoiled or growing up to be an elitist. This world is full of people who aren't well off, and we all have to be comfortable around people who are middle class and poor. Yeah, I could put him in private school, even some rich boarding school somewhere, without stretching myself. But he only learns how to associate with other rich kids, choking on the silver spoons in their mouths, kids who get Porsches at 16 and bitch that they didn't get the Lamborghini they really wanted. My grandfathers were a plumber and a welder. My own father retired last year from being a mechanic for a Toyota dealer. Well, not really. He started there turning wrenches, but he retired after managing the entire shop his last 15 years there. I did better, but it was at the cost of my old man turning many wrenches after hours and over weekends, and me killing myself working part-time jobs anytime I wasn't in school or working or asleep from sheer exhaustion, Miss Horton. What would it take for you to call me Nora? She interrupted. About the same effort you would expend in calling me Matt, Matt told her. Matt, then. Nora, or Nora, look, my ex, she's in prison after driving drunk one night when Jeremy was 4 months old. She plowed into a city bus and killed 6 people on it. She got a stiff sentence, and I got a divorce and complete custody. Even if she gets parole, she won't even have supervised visitation. She had already filed for divorce before the drunk driving escapade. She never wanted the party to end. I'm all Jeremy has, and I kill myself to be a good father to him, and yes, his absolute advocate. He's a good kid. From what I gather, that little thug Taylor Moore could have crushed Jeremy, but still, Jeremy stood up to him on behalf of a kid who couldn't fight back. I'm proud of him and furious with you for what you did to him. You're right, Nora said. Matt, I fucked up. Zero tolerance policies are an easy cop out for educators, and I copped out. She drew a deep breath and exhaled shakily, then pointed over her shoulder with her thumb. That wasn't a bluff. Take me to his classroom, bend me over his desk, and let me have it. Better still, bend me over where the fight happened to give it some symbolism. Maybe it'll do whatever both of our world. Maybe it'll do us both a world of good. You for getting justice for Jeremy. I lifted his suspension and marked it in the report that the initial story was in error, so he can return Monday. And maybe, I think certainly, it will teach me to use my fucking brain before I fuck up a good kid on the altar of policy and procedure. My duty is to do the right thing, not to hide behind some stupid rule book. Yes, you deserve it, Matt said, but not on your turf. Not this first time, although I'll admit that giving you a stout caning right here, right where it happened, sounds right and just. Give me a moment. He stepped out of her office and dialed his parents. What's up, Matt? His father asked. Can y'all keep Jeremy tonight? Matt asked. Only if you come for him Sunday, his father chuckled. Overnight ain't enough to spoil his little ass rotten, son. His father's voice lowered some. He's really upset about that mess at school, Matt. That's been resolved, and please tell him it's off his record once and for all, and he can return to school Monday, like yesterday never happened. Matt told his father. Jesus, you fought City Hall and won? There was a lot of help, Dad. Apparently, the principal was buried in kids, and at least one teacher who said Jeremy was protecting a helpless kid from a bully. I hope I hope Jeremy beat the little fucker's ass, his father said with quiet anger. No, but I saw to it I have his back, Matt left unsaid. I don't think the other boy will be a problem moving forward, Dad. Good, good, his father said after a second to digest. I get the idea that less I ask, the less you'll have to lie, and the happier we both are, right? Something like that, Matt allowed. Good, his father said. Don't you dare try to snag my grandson from our clutches before 5 o'clock Sunday, boy. Yes, sir, Matt chuckled and ended the call. He went back into Nora's office where he found her bent over her desk with a cane resting on her back. Not on your turf, he said. Where? She asked. How much do you trust me, Nora? Enough to be bent over my desk in my own office, knowing you could flip this skirt up and tug my panties down and whip me senseless for what I did. Panties around ankles tend to be decent bondage since it's hard to run away like that, even if there was somewhere to run. Come with me, he told her. I'll bring you back to collect your car later. Oh, God, this is really going to happen, isn't it? Bet your life on it, Nora. Yes, yes, sir. Chapter 3. Come inside, Matt said as when he unlocked the door of his house. Nora did so, looking terrified, still bearing the cane from her office. Nora, you offered this. If you want out, say the word and you're in your car in 15 minutes like this never happened. But I'm tired of you looking at me like I'm some comic book supervillain. In spite of herself, Nora chuckled. I guess it suddenly became real when I got into your car, she admitted. Can we talk? We've talked we've talked away a big chunk of the afternoon. So go ahead, Nora. What do you know about BDSM, sir? Are you asking, am I a Dom? The answer is yes, but I haven't found the right submissive yet, one who can go the distance. Mostly, Jeremy is still is the stumbling block, but he's my numero uno, Nora. One of them couldn't stand his crying when he was a year old, and I sent her packing. Another, she simply hated kids. Two others flat told me not even a month into dating that they couldn't see being a stepmother, so they also bailed. They said it's hard on single moms, but I doubt it's better on single dads, at least those with custody. Not in my experience. His mother, Nora asked, is there more to the story than she is in prison for that vehicular homicide? She's in prison, like I said. She won't get parole for at least 12 more years. I have sole custody. I told you that. I don't take him to visit her. She filed for divorce before she fucked up. Then I counterfiled when she wound up in jail. I wouldn't pay her bail even. She was in county for most of a year before her trial, then went away for a lengthy sentence. I kind of hope she fucks up in the clink and dies there in about 60 more years. Was she a problem drinker? She got drunk and hit a city bus, killed several on it. She blew a .233 at the hospital, drunker than old Cooter Brown. I love that. I say that all the time. But she knew who she was and when and where. But they tested her 3 times to be sure, and the .233 was the lowest result. She was still alert and oriented, and you don't blow that kind of breathalyzer and you're still alert without one hell of a lot of practice at it. There was mostly empty vodka bottle in her car. Prosecution Exhibit C, I think it was. Ouch, you sound bitter. Jeremy deserves a good mother, or at least a good mother figure. All he has for mother figures are my mother and Jill Sutton, the den mother at the Club Scout Pack, where Tim, coincidentally, is also a member. Tiger Scouts, baby. He left unsaid that Tim had spent many nights here with Jeremy and that his parents were too poor to afford the dues for their son, much less the uniforms and other various fees. So Matt paid those out of his own pocket, and Jill only told his parents it was covered. Mary Utley had emphysema and was on disability. She never smoked a cigarette in her life, but bad genes gave her a death sentence anyway. She was on she was on home hospice care and probably wouldn't last another 6 months, he had learned. Roger Utley drove a cab, sometimes putting in 18-hour days. The whole family lived in a crappy two-bedroom apartment and scrounged to make ends meet, too often finding a gross excess of month at the end of their money. I know Jill, Nora said absently. Her son is Billy, right? Billy, Matt confirmed. Good kid. Already planning to be an eagle in 8 or so years. He's somewhat of a teacher's pet, Nora chuckled. I guess maybe you might have found that good mother figure for Jeremy if I haven't totally. I guess maybe you might have found that good mother figure for Jeremy if I haven't totally fucked up with you yesterday and today, she blushed. I'm sorry. That was really forward of me, wasn't it? It was, Matt agreed. Anyway, BDSM. Nora altered the subject. I had a boyfriend in high school who was into spanking me, but our senior year we'd moved up to him caning me and riding hard on me. But we got scholarships to different colleges. Wally went to UT and I went to SMU, and we didn't see each other again until our 20-year reunion a few months ago. At SMU, I dated a couple of spankers, and in my junior year, a professor of history who was a true Dom took an interest in me. But I mentioned him earlier. He had tenure, and I had an offer down here I couldn't pass, like I said. So I took myself down here, and I've mostly lived like a nun ever since. There I was, 26 years old, with a master's degree and a career path that submission and enslavement didn't really fit. Now here I am, 38 years old. There are laugh lines, a bit of sag. Everything isn't taut and hard anymore, no matter how well I take care of myself. Back then, I had a few one night stands, but that's easier before 30. I haven't even been on what you could fairly call a date in nearly 10 years. She looked at Matt with wide and hurt eyes. I'm tired of being alone, and even if all we do is me being summoned here to be whipped, at least it's an intimate human touch. I see. Ah, Jackie's back. I want to show you something if I may. I think you're soon to be bent over and showing me everything, Matt said, then blushed. Jesus, what is it with you? I just sounded like a horny kid in high school about to get laid for the first time. Thank God I'm not alone, Nora said and smirked. May I show you something on the computer? It's your insurance policy, I suppose. Sure. He pointed to a closed door off the living room, my home office. Okay. Chapter 4 is okay. Nora typed on the computer for a moment and accessed a cloud, then a video on the cloud. Looking over her shoulder, Matt saw it appeared to be the latest entry. The still was Nora looking into the camera. She stood up and gestured to the chair. I want you to watch this video and download it. Store it, Mr. Thompson. Lock it in your safe. Well, just watch it, please, and you'll understand. Matt hit the play button. I am Nora Horton, she said solemnly. This is Thursday night. Actually, it's 2:15 Friday morning, the 11th. Yesterday, I suspended a good kid for fighting, a child named Jeremy Thompson. His father was furious with me, and I've learned since that he was rightfully angry. His name is Matthew Thompson. I've looked into him and learned more than I ought to have learned, I guess, to include that he is a BDSM dom. As several more of these confessional videos and essays have indicated, I am a slave without a master, which you know alone, a master or a slave is only potential, like a battery in an unopened package sitting beside an unopened radio. We need to be put together to become more than just our potential. Anyway, I am all alone at home right now, fretting, but I know what has to be done. It is my intention to call Mr. Thompson to apologize and confess, and to offer myself to him for whatever corporal punishment he deems suitable. In a way, he really is an attractive man. I hope it's far more than one session and he grows an interest in me that he can forgive my fucking stupidity for suspending Jeremy. So, dear diary, I hope the next time I visit, I have red eyes, tear streaks ruining my makeup, and a seriously lashed body. God knows I've needed it since. Well, since I moved down here. I plan on showing this video to Mr. Thompson. I want him to have it so he knows I cannot back out and say I didn't consent. Her eyes fixed on the camera's lens. I do consent without recourse to anything and everything he wishes to do to punish me for my wrongdoing to his son. Her tone changed slightly, and she looked with complete boldness into the camera, and Matt felt directly into his eyes. For what it's worth, Mr. Thompson, I don't deserve mercy but severity. I hope when I return Monday to my office that it still hurts to sit, and I hope whatever I get tonight is the first of many such encounters. I really am sorry, but I really hope you agree to lash me. The video ended. Matt was erect in his slacks as he downloaded the video, then uploaded it to two clouds. I hope you use that too, sir, Nora said, eyes fixed on his cock, obviously hard in his thin pants. May I strip, sir? Yes, Matt said as he shut down the computer and stood. I looked into you, Mr. Thompson, found out your S&M side. You're well-spoken and seem highly regarded, Nora said as she unbuttoned her blue blouse, then folded it and set it aside, then stepped out of her skirt, then her bra and panties. She was very appealing to Matt, tallish and leggy with tits that were far from sagging. She was toned and lean. In all, a most viscerally, here we go again, girls. I have problems with words ending in L-Y, I think. Fascinating woman, Matt thought. Sir, for tonight's purposes, I consider myself your captive, even your slave, she added. You have my complete consent to punish me however you see fit, with only a few exceptions. Exceptions? Matt asked. Lash me anywhere that clothing covers, and I consent. Even my calves, sir. I can wear slacks to cover marks. Nothing that will harm me permanently. I mean, I don't want to wind up in the hospital with broken arms. But you never noticed me there, but I've seen you at the dungeon club out in the city. At first, you looked familiar, but I think you can imagine how many faces passed before me. I asked a few questions, and many of the women there have flat said they'd be on you like white on rice if they were single. Nobody, and I mean nobody, had a snarky or bad thing to say about you, not even in the submissive support group. I found out you're in the BDSM group and asked a few questions. For anonymity, I go by the name Crystal there. I know that sounds like a stripper or hooker, at least to me, but it's a far cry from Nora Horton, principal of Pinedale Elementary. Soon, I hope, a doctorate in education. Your next question is about to be, why don't you have a master then? Or words to that effect, right? No, but probably because, like me, you haven't found the right one, Matt said. I'll be the first to tell you that none of this is a one-size-fits-all arrangement, like we were tube socks or something. Exactly, she said. Sir, please get this started before I lose my nerve. I'm standing here naked and feeling like I've been measured and found wanting. I know I'm not 22 years old anymore. Her prattle was terminated on a kiss from Matt, a lingering kiss of passion as she moaned into his mouth and quivered. Shut it now and bend over the back of this chair, he said, struggling not to come at the contact. Oh, God, yes. Yes, sir, she moaned and bent over as bidden. Putting her weight on the back of the chair, her palms flat on the seat, her legs together and straight back on her tiptoes. Matt was impressed. She would find it difficult to stand up and evade, positioned so awkwardly. He examined the cane, a dense one that was thin and highly whippy, and cut it through the air a couple of times before she quivered. I'm not going to sentence you, Nora, he said. I'm learning you, so you'll be caned this time until I'm done. But yes, I think you can count on multiple appointments here in this office. Yes, sir, Nora said huskily. Matt slung the cane furiously into the middle of Nora's ass, and she hissed. His eyes were riveted to the enticing curve of her ass as the welt blanched, then reddened as it rose and filled. 8 lashes later, Nora was sobbing but held her place. 6 lashes after that, she cried out, God, sir, please restrain me before. Please. Wait here, Matt said. He went upstairs to his bedroom where he pulled down the ladder to the attic and went up, where he opened a trunk and produced an array of leather cuffs and ropes, then returned down to his office. He cuffed her hands to the arms of the chair, tying them off tightly, then used the bondage belt, encircled with rings for cuffs or ropes for restraint, one that had once fit his wife's waist and now fit Nora's, cinching it tightly, buckled at the small of her back, and tied to that chair. He cuffed her ankles, then used spreaders to tie them to the back legs of the chair, enforcing her position. He figured she was going nowhere until he was done with her. Um, I'm sorry, sir, Nora said. I know that means I get extra for being such a bother and a spectacle. Behind her, Matt smirked. He wondered if she thought she was fooling him. He heard the hopeful note in her tone. She was hurting, and he thought she was feeling punished. But she was craving this all, just the same. You're expected here every night at 10 until further notice, Matt said. Jeremy is sound asleep by then. Sir, I have nowhere to be until Monday morning, she said. I doubt any questions will be asked about my car staying in the parking lot all weekend. Matt had an idea, and the more his mind circled it, the more he linked it. 20 more, but that's not the end of this, Nora. You and I are going to talk and make plans. Yes, Mr. Thompson, she hissed and sobbed her way through the coming lashes, going from ass to thigh, and Matt knew she'd be sore for a time, but far more was coming to her. He undid her bonds and helped her to stand, then slid his pants down and sat on the chair. Her eyes widened as she knelt. God, I've missed this too much, she moaned, then went down on him, her throat swallowing the head of his swollen cock. She was skilled, Matt soon saw, his body tensing and trembling as his climax mounted. He growled loudly a time later as his cock violently spurted his seed into her swallowing throat, shuddering and gasping at the intensity. He hadn't been with a woman in over a year, and that one hadn't been good with her mouth, or much else besides being pretty, he considered. She milked his cock of all his seeds, swallowing hungrily, then looked up at him with a sassy grin. Sorry, but I was too nervous for lunch. It's supper time now, and this girl is starving. Oh, shit, Matt laughed. I think I might have to keep you. I sort of hoped for that, Mr. Thompson. I snagged a burger and fries on the way to meet you, but it hasn't lived long, Matt said. Okay, I have a plan in mind, but we'll put that aside for now. As bad as I hate saying it, get dressed. Steak sounds better, or barbecue, seafood, or Mexican. Right. About now, I think I'd kill for a big sizzling platter of fajitas, Mr. Thompson. Don't you think you should just call me Matt by about now? I don't, sir. I don't think calling you master yet is appropriate, but Sir and Mr. Thompson remind me I'm submissive. Certainly not your equal. The honorifics remind me of my place here, but I get where you're going, and in public you should be Matt. Or do you prefer Matthew, sir? Matt, he chuckled. My parents dragged Matthew to the woodshed. Nora chuckled. Reminds me of the adventures of Tom Sawyer, where he told Becky that Thomas was the name they used when he got a licking. Oh, damn, Matt laughed. I remember that now that you mention it. Matt it is, then, sir. You guys think I can get through one more chapter in 10 minutes? Chapter 5. Selena's comida mexicana proved to be just what the doctor ordered for both of them. He was impressed with Nora, confident enough not to pretend she was a dainty eater. She ate 3 tortillas stuffed with beef and the standard accoutrements of fajitas, brought on a sizzling iron dish to their table, and presented with a flourish by a handsome waiter named Esteban. This is Mr. Horton? He asked Nora. No, Nora said. He's Mr. Thompson. There never was a Mr. Horton, other than my father. Do I know you, Esteban? Nah, I never got in that much trouble, Miss Horton. Esteban grinned. I was at Pinedale until 6 years ago, though. You were assistant principal then. You see, Matt, Nora grinned. I only know the kids who are jerks, not the kids like Esteban here. Esteban laughed delightedly. You sure know my brother, Thomas, Esteban chuckled. Salinas? Nora asked. Yeah, he said you told him once that he'd get a better rate just renting a seat in detention. Esteban chuckled. How's he doing these days? He's okay. He's in 7th grade at Jefferson Middle School. And, well, our parents brought the roof down on him, and Thomas loves playing football. So they told him he gets in trouble, and he's off the team and taking a sewing class. You know, we Mexicans and machoismo. Thomas freaked out and ain't had a grade below a C ever since. Good for him, Nora grinned. And yourself? I'm a junior now at Carson High, studying my tail off when I ain't here hustling plates for the family, Esteban said. U of H has a good hotel and a restaurant management program, and that's the plan. Dad's opening up 2 more restaurants next year and 2 more the year after that. And someday this empire will be all mine. Unless Thomas changes his mind, he doesn't want any part of it, doesn't even like Mexican food. Miss Horton, how great to see you, a Hispanic woman said, approaching. Miss Salinas, Nora said, and rose, then shook hands with the lady. This is Mr. Thompson, a friend of mine. I know Mr. Thompson, Selena said. Barely a week goes by that he's not in here mowing down our tamales, him and that son of his. Where's little Jeremy? Getting spoiled to death by his grandparents, who have indicated I'll get back an utterly rotten child Sunday, Matt chuckled. Impossible. He's too sweet for that. He fakes it, Matt laughed. Bite your tongue, mister, Elena grinned. What's this? Fajitas, not tamales? Did the 7th sign come along and I missed the news? Just wanted to do something a bit different, Matt said. Esteban, keep their glasses full. I need to get back to the kitchen. It's great seeing both of you. Are you dating now? Tonight, at least, Nora grinned. His boy is a real charmer, Miss Horton. I know. I met him yesterday. They finished their meal and tea and handed Esteban his card when Jeremy approached, looking a bit baffled. Dad, you're with Miss Horton? He asked. Hi, Jeremy, Nora smiled. Jeremy held back, and behind him, Matt's father frowned. I'm Don Thompson, he said. I'm Matt's dad. Fortunately, I'm also Jeremy's grandfather. A woman approached, smiling at Matt. And this is my wife. She's Annette. First wife. Annette snorted and rolled her eyes. So you're the woman who kicked this boy out of school, Don asked. I made a mistake, Mr. Thompson, and he's officially kicked back in, Nora said. She looked Jeremy in the eye. Jeremy, being a principal or even a teacher doesn't mean we can't make mistakes. And I made a big mistake with you. I'm sorry. But I'm undoing that mistake and making it right. And I promise that you and Tim aren't going to get more trouble from that other boy. I'm taking steps there as soon as I get to my office Monday. Yes, ma'am, Jeremy said. Thanks. And thanks for sticking up for me, Dad. So, you're out on a date, Annette asked, looking a bit worried. More or less, Matt said. In the midst of having my screaming tantrum at her, it caught my attention that she's mighty cute, Mom. She is, Annette said. God, those dimples in her cheeks. She's cute as a bug, son. Oh, God. Nora groaned, blushing beet red as Matt laughed delightedly. What do you do? Get together and rehearse embarrassing the hell out of girlfriends? Precisely, Matt said. Jeremy even giggled at this as Esteban returned with his card and the receipt to sign. I'd best get you out of here before Mom makes big league moves and sees whether you can die of embarrassment. That happened once and Rip Andrea. He stood and tightly hugged Jeremy, then his parents, and Nora followed him from the restaurant. Sir, where are we going? Nora asked. To the school, Matt said. I figured you can drive your car out to my place. A suggestion, sir? Matt nodded and Nora spoke again. Let's take it to my house and park it there. Then you can take me back to your house. I'd ask for a few minutes to pack a few things, a couple of changes of clothes for if we go out, toiletries, that sort of thing. But that way, for one, my car isn't at your house making tongues wag. For another, it makes me that much more your captive, since I sure the hell don't want to walk the 18 miles or so between our houses. Good thinking, Matt said. Nora invited him into her house after parking the car in her garage, where Matt admired her motorcycle, a Harley Sportster 1200. I have a motorcycle. I haven't ridden in a while, but I have a motorcycle. Doesn't really befit a middle-aged educator, I guess. Oh, doesn't really befit a middle-aged educator, I guess, she grinned. But I love riding it on nice weekends, sir, but want to trade it to something bigger and badder than a sporty. To be frank, it's an underpowered slug and only fun to ride for an hour or two, but I'd like to do a longer runs on two wheels, maybe hit all the lower 48. I like the idea of running distances, maybe camping wherever I stop. So I'm thinking about getting a triple bagger, like maybe a Goldwing. Nice box, Mike acknowledged. I rode until Karen turned up pregnant with Jeremy. I sold the bike 3 months before Jeremy was born, responsible dad and all that. I miss riding. Why not get another bike? I don't trust him to ride on the back, Matt said. He's easily distracted. I figure when he's 10 or 11 and I'm more confident that he'll behave better, I'll buy a bike then. He doesn't know this yet, but I'm getting him a little dirt bike for his birthday, just a 50cc machine, but I'll let him learn to ride, learn to respect it. That sounds fun, Nora said. Believe it or not, I was a real tomboy in my teens, rode a 185, and even raced motocross until I took a bad landing and got pretty banged up. The bike was destroyed, frame snapped into pieces, and my mother put her foot down to my father, so I was done with motocross. I was 2 months limping and gimping before I recovered. Oh, the immortality of youth, right? Amen, Matt said and chuckled. I was into rodeo as a teen. They had us riding younger yearling steers. I did pretty good and did a bit of a riding grown bulls in my first couple of years of college. I never got hurt, but I stopped winning as much after a year of riding them and decided they were safer and easier ways to reap a paycheck, right? Amen. Nora chuckled. I won a purse here and there, even one for $500 when I was 15 years old. But that crash, yeah. You want a beer or wine while I round up some stuff? Water? Matt asked. Coming up, sir. Nora disappeared into the kitchen and returned a moment later with a cold bottle of water from HEB. Anything else? Nope. Go on and round up your stuff. 10 minutes later, as Matt was finishing off the water, Mexican food always made him thirsty afterward. Nora appeared with a small suitcase. I packed mostly casual stuff, but also work clothes if needed, sir, she said, as well as the girly bathroom stuff, she added with a shy smile. Let's go. Matt ordered. Okay, I'm done. And I did it. Yes, I did it. And it's 8:59. Yay! Thank you, Lucas, for letting me read this. Thank you so much. I shall be finishing this book really soon. Got a couple other books going too, so I'm not sure when I will. Tomas. Jackie cracking me up. You girls are cray cray. Vincy, I'm gonna record you a story every night to listen to go to sleep. Make your sir jealous. So alrighty. So this book, trying to remember. Let's see about this book. See it in the store. I think it's $2.99. I'm not sure. Don't quote me up on that, ladies, because now it's not telling me. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, it's got like a gazillion chapters. But the chapters aren't big. So I read 5 chapters tonight. Oh, hi, sir. Who is tell me? $2.99, Nina says. You're welcome, Lucas. Alrighty, everybody. So tomorrow night, come back and I'm going to be reading Candy Fox. Tell me somebody I need to block, y'all, because if I do, I will try to do that. Jackie, you can let me know. Tomorrow night is Candy Fox and her new motorcycle book, Rage. I believe. Am I right, Neener Beaner? Yes, Rage. So show back up here at 8 o'clock, and I will be reading that. So until then, everybody, have a great night and happy reading.